Hi, it's Susan from Connection and Synergy LLC. Today I want to talk a little bit about strategies and how we use them to cope with things. 37 years ago, on the first Saturday in May, I walked down the aisle to be married. Little did I know where that short walk would take me. For those of you who follow, the first Saturday in May is Kentucky Derby Day. How could someone who loved watching the Derby plan her wedding on that day? I had other considerations with the start of being a farm and ranch wife. Calving season was coming to a close. It had been a rough one, as Mike and his dad had lost many calves as well as some cows that season due to problems calving. Spring planting would start soon. I was able to fit a wedding and honeymoon in between. The race could be taped and watched later. We had many seasons to move through in our lives. First, we lived at the farm. Then we moved a few miles away to some land that they had leased for many years. There was a large pasture that I loved to ride in there. Then we moved 45 miles south to my grandfather's place to help him. After his death, only 2 months later, the birth of our first son, and almost a year of being frustrated by my family, we moved back to Oakley. Mike's dad had sold all the cows, so at that point, there was only the farm income. Farming is an interesting lifestyle. During times like planting, harvest, and calving, all life stops. It doesn't matter what else is happening, the work comes first. I was kind of used to this because my dad had been the only doctor in the county for many years while I was growing up. Still, it caused stress in our marriage. After all these weren't potentially life and death situations. We had purchased some land shortly after we were married, and it didn't make much sense for us not to have cattle, so Mike purchased 24 head of bred cows and restarted our cow herd. We lived in town, so that meant frequent trips to the farm 6 miles away during calving season. We had 2 more sons. I went back to school. Our 2 oldest sons graduated from high school. Then came the defining point in our marriage. In August of 2012, Dad diagnosed Mike with a sinus infection. Then in October, the nurse practitioner that he saw diagnosed him with another one. On January 1st, he thought he got something in his eye and couldn't see to make it back from the farm. He got in to see the optometrist the next day and saw his nurse practitioner intermittently until the last Friday in January, when she said he would need to go to Hayes because they had used up all their resources. We went to the middle school and told our youngest we were leaving town and arranged for someone to take him home after school. I drove Mike to the hospital in Hayes where they admitted him. And this is where my journey as a caregiver started. The next day, he was diagnosed with a rare autoimmune disease. They had him on steroids and antibiotics, and he was in the hospital until Sunday. I know people who've managed autoimmune diseases for years. We can manage this. Little did I know what the following years would bring. So as I'm here thinking about the first Saturday in May, I'm thinking about my strategy for dealing with the anniversary the last few years. I've found things to distract me, as I've done with many of the feelings in my life. If I'm distracted, I won't think about it as much, and I won't feel as much. The last wedding anniversary we celebrated together, he was unable to eat. He was getting his nutrition by IV. I was in the middle of chemo and was bald. We had attended a golf tournament that John was playing in that day, and we're going to a concert that John was playing in that evening. We weren't used to big, lavish celebrations for our anniversary. The only time we did something big was when we went on the Delta Queen steamboat cruise and to the Kentucky Derby. This year, as I watched the Derby on TV, I was reminded of that. Had I been at home alone, I might have cried. We all have our strategies for dealing with pain we've had in our lives. When we develop them, they usually serve us well, may even create a way for us to shine. Then they let us down. When we've been using those strategies instead of dealing with the feelings we have about something, whether it be grief, trauma, or something else, they will catch up with us in the long run. Over the past 7.5 years, I've learned much about letting go of the strategies and how the horses can help. If you'd like to learn more about how the horses can help you with your strategies, click on the link below to join the connection list and stay up to date. Thank you.